morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to Danny's Detours, where we talk about anything and everything life related, and consciousness is our canvas. Welcome back to the channel, guys, and I'm out and about again with my two favourite compadres, Paddy and Willow, and also I've got my lads with me this morning. I've got Connor, and I've got my youngest lad, Maximus. Say hello. Yeah, so welcome back to the channel, guys, and we're going to start and about on another fantastic day. Obviously, it's a little bit grey today, but I think we were due a little bit of rain, guys, because we've been very, very blessed with some of the weather we've been getting. We've had some really nice weather the last couple of weeks. And look at all this now. It's grown even more every time I come down here. I know I mention it all the time, guys, but look at all this. Like, literally now you've got to duck under it all to get to the path. But look at that, it's fantastic. I know I keep mentioning it, guys, and I'm not going to stop talking about it because, you know, it's life, the plant life, abundance, which is everywhere in our lives. So yeah, but yeah, thank you so much to everyone that has liked, commented and subscribed to my channel. And we are on 111 subscribers, which is absolutely fantastic. 111, and that's actually, I think this could be a sign from the universe. Who knows, but 111 represents new beginnings. So maybe God's trying to communicate with me. I already know I'm on the right path with what I'm doing, so yeah, 111. Look it up. Look up angel numbers and do some research on it, guys. And like obviously 8 stands for abundance. 4 is like divine guidance and you're protected. It means so many different things. But yeah, today I wanted to have a little bit of it. Look at all that though. Look at that. Nicely grown over. But today I wanted to talk a little bit about my past. And obviously I know I've like mentioned it vividly in the past, but I've obviously the problems that I had with alcohol and drugs when I was growing up. And yeah, it's obviously when I first started drinking, I was never really like a heavy drinker, but I was more of a binge drinker. And obviously now I'm like made the decision a while back to just be teetotal and no longer have it, because I believe it no longer serves me. Because I've always thought to myself that alcohol was kind of like it was an escape, you know. It was kind of like it enabled me to just escape from real life and who I was, you know. I don't get me wrong, I was never an alcoholic or anything like that, but when I did drink, I drunk excessively. So, and it was always like a couple of times a week, which most people now see it as normal, but I don't. Listen, each to their own. If you do, I'm not telling people not to do it, but for me, it wasn't a good thing, guys, you know, because obviously it led to other things. And then obviously when I was drinking, it led to me doing other substances like cocaine and stuff like that, which, you know, that ravaged part of my life for a long time. You know, I'm not ashamed to admit these things, guys, but I believe that, you know, I had to go to these dark places in order to learn my lessons and gain, because if I would have never have gone to the darkest, upmost, nastiest of places, I would never have been able to shine my light and, you know, see what was good. And you know, like gain enlightenment and just learn my lessons and just everything that's attached to it. Like, there's so many people now who, you know, they go on these you know, they try quitting, but you can only like stop when you want to stop, you know what I mean? It's got to be, you've got to want it deep down inside. And, you know, I got to a point, where like I was running away from myself. You know, I was running away, like I was running away from the trauma of my past. You know, I'm not saying I've had a bad past, but there's things that have happened in my life that I did not love, and I did not love myself. And that's what everything boils down to. Like, say if you're a nasty person or you reflect certain things out into the universe, in a negative light, that's because you don't love yourself. But where we come from, which is the divine, that is unconditional love, you know. There's no judgment. Everything is just perfect and in its essence and what it is and what it always was, which is what you are, which is infinite potential, love and unconditional love and joy. But yeah, so you know, I went to a lot of dark places in my life at the time, and I'm not ashamed to admit it, you know what I mean, because obviously it had effects on, like, you know, my family life and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, guys, you know, I've come out of it like a better, stronger person now, you know, and I've got a lot of people to thank for that. You know, obviously my wife helped me along the way, you know, everyone really. But it's a bit like what they always say, you know, you can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make them drink it, you know. And that is so true, that, because if you want to change, it's not you've got to want change, you have to be change. You've got to make that conscious decision in your mind and say to yourself, listen, you know, enough's enough. I you know, you've just got to change, and that is just literally the be all and end all of it all. But yeah, so obviously, you know, there was a lot of times where, you know, I look back at it now, and I just think to myself that, you know, I hated myself and everything. Like, maybe I think a lot of the trauma of, like, when I got diagnosed with diabetes when I was 15 years old, and it come to a point in my time where, like, you know, everyone was going out with their friends, people were drinking on the parks, and kind of like this made me feel a little bit like different and left out. And I thought, well, why me? And that come down to the pity in myself, or feeling sorry for myself. But now I look back and I think to myself, why, God, the universe, the soul contracts, whatever they may be, has given me these challenges, because we grow so much from them. Because if I would never have gone to these deep, dark places in my life, and, you know, I could talk about many different episodes of, you know, there's numerous amounts of stories. There's, you know, there's been situations where my life's been at risk, and we're not going to go too much into them. We can talk about them another time, but I've always felt as though I've been divinely protected, which I feel as though I am, because obviously when I was 8 years old, I had meningitis, and I died, and I kind of had like a near-death experience, which I've talked about that on some of my previous videos. So if you've not watched the videos, guys, make sure that you do go back to them, some of my older videos, and check it out, and then you sort of like get a bit of a rundown as to what had happened. And I always look back to things like that, and it made me think to myself, you know, why me? And it all makes sense now. It's everything is for a reason, whether it be good or whether it be bad. Because at the end of the day, guys, you know, it's you know, everything is in your life happens for a reason, and it's for our soul's growth. So this is what, you know, this is how I know I'm on the right path, and it's enabled me to go. And, you know, because if I would never have gone through these trials, tribulations and challenges in my life, I would never have got to this point now of gaining enlightenment and realising, and just waking up and even like doing this channel. Because it's kind of like you've got to be willing to die. And when I say that, I mean like your old self has to die in order for your new self to be reborn again, if that makes sense. Because like the old version of me who did take the drugs, who did do these certain things, you know, like never in a million years would I have I would never have done this channel, because I used to suffer a lot with like anxiety, depression, and a lot of these things stemmed from drugs. But it wasn't just the drugs, it was the concept of myself, of who I thought I was and who I believed I was, you know. But you've got to get up every day, guys, and you've got to say to yourself who you are and what you are, which is whatever you want to be. Or look into, you know, go into the silence, get into nature, and listen to yourself and know who you are and what you are. You know, you've got to, we've got so many distractions in the world now. You know, Netflix, pornography, food, social media, you name it. We are literally being attacked from every single angle now. So always remember this, because once you start to take away the distractions And that is when you start to connect with the ether, which is your spirit, your higher self. And that is only then you'll know, and you start to hear your soul whisper to you. Because I remember when I was out in nature, you know, like a couple of months ago, and I was literally getting, you know, I was in silence for a long time. And I believe that was like when God or my soul was whispering towards me and telling me this. And, you know, it just kind of like made me think to myself, maybe was always destined either to be a light worker or to help people, or just get sort of like just like give people knowledge and enlightenment on obviously my journey. And I thought to myself, you know, it's a bit like where people talk about depression, yeah, and depression is basically deep rest when you think about it. And when I say deep rest is basically meaning that we are resting too much. And think about that for a minute, guys, because it's like if you are resting too much, that means you are not being creative, because we was put here to be creators and not to consume. You know, obviously, yeah, we consume food and other stuff like that, but just think about that for a minute, guys, you know what I mean? But yeah, I think we're going to leave it at that because we're going on for like 11 minutes, but just a few things I wanted to talk about there, guys, just for, you know, just a few stories. But we're just on the backfields. I've got my lads with me. They're out and about with us. But yeah, thank you so much for the love and support. Don't forget to give me a like, follow and subscribe to my YouTube. All the links to my socials are in the description below. But for me, Danny D Tours, Paddy and Willow, have a fantastic day. Love you loads. Peace.